So Jagriti, you have mentioned that public speaking is one of your hobbies.
Yes, sir.
Well, public speaking is a very important thing which you would require when if and when you become a civil servant. So let me ask you and think about it before answering. What are the things you will keep in mind for good public speaking? What are those attributes, characteristics, ingredients of a good public speaker? From start to the finish, think about the things which you would like to include in your public speech.
So before my presentation, I would
Mhm.
want to be clear with my content, what I'm going to present to the audience. Being
Okay.
familiar with the audience, what is the audience expecting of me, and how to make the message relevant to my target audience.
Okay.
I would first have a test run of my speech with my family members or friends so that I can get their feedback. So
Okay.
that would be my preparatory phase. Once
Mhm.
I'm into that speaking zone, I would get myself friendly with my audience so that it doesn't sound very monotonous. And I would keep it in a dialogue format if possible. If it is not a one-way communication, I would keep it in the form of a small participative, like raising hands for something or a yes or no, so that they remain involved. At the
Okay.
end, I would invite doubts and feedbacks. And once I'm done with it, if a recording is available, I'll go through that recording again so that I can identify what good things were there and what did I lack.
Okay, good. But some of the other things which are very, very important parts of a good public speech is storytelling. You have to
Yes, sir.
include some story. That is one.
Yes,
Second is,
and
yeah, then you have to maintain eye contact so that you remain, the public remains glued to you. And then you have to come out with examples in support of what you are speaking. And then, of course, you have to modulate your voice, you see, up and down, intonations, expressions, so that it
yes,
becomes
sir.
all right. And
Yes,
so these are some of the things which you have, but then public speaking is extremely important part of a civil servant. So you must understand what are the ingredients, and storytelling is a very important. And lastly, not the least, humor also sometimes becomes a good part of a public speaking.
yes,
Okay,
sir.
now tell me, um, India's HDI ranking, why it is so low?
So
Can
India
you tell me what is the
stands.
ranking right now?
So it is 131.
Okay, so it is 0.645. So can
The
you tell why? And who are at number one, two, three?
Sir, not precisely, but I think it's Norway and Iceland.
Yeah, Norway, Ireland, Switzerland. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so tell me why. First of all, what are the different indicators, which are part of the HDI? What are those things in which are looked when calculating the HDI?
HDI includes the educational attributes regarding the expected years of schooling and mean years of schooling, then
Mhm.
health indicators,
Yeah.
and health indicators in terms of life expectancy and nutrition levels, and then
Yeah.
also the incomes in the country, the
Okay.
per capita income,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And standard of living, all these things.
standard of living. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Correct. Can you tell me, there is since you have taken, I think, sociology as your subject.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Optional is sociology. So there is a concept which is growing more and more in the Western world, which is now being followed in this country also. And this thing is an acronym. It is called DINKS. What is a DINKS? Any
I'm not. I haven't
just to
read
give you a
about
hint,
that, sir.
just to give you a hint, it relates to a situation where both husband and wife they are working. Both of them are they have taken up jobs, they are working. So it's some kind of a situation which is sociological problem which is arising. No idea? So
Sir, is it related to symmetrical family?
no, what is the full form of DINKS? DINKS.
I'm not aware of that, sir.
Okay, so DINKS is double income, no kids. That is the kind of atmosphere which is now coming up, that both husband and wife are working, but they don't want to raise a family. So DINGS is something, a problem which is appearing now. And now, can you tell me what is the influence of the daily serials in the television on the family relations and the social structure?
The daily TV serials, they are quite popular, and they often shape the familial values. For example, most of them showing women in the role of housewives or caretakers. So they instill a sense of acceptance among the society regarding the caretaker role of the women. At the same time, some of the TV serials and the new age ones, they are challenging these notions and stereotypes. So they are equally bringing about change. Further, they also promote a sense of consumerism amongst the people, showing lavish lifestyles, or even poverty is sometimes romanticized. So such things, they promote consumerism in the society, sometimes unhealthy consumerism as well.
Okay, all right, good. So final question, what is this difference between sex and gender, and what is a gender stereotype?
So sex is a biological uh, concept. A person is born with a sex, be it male, female, or intersex. While gender is the sociological concept, gender is the values and attributes that are attached to a certain sex. Like, for example, with male, uh, concepts of authority, power, and dominance, these things are attached in the society. So one is born a male, but society makes him a man, and same for female and women.
Yeah. And what is stereotype?
So gender stereotype would be to link certain roles and attributes to a particular gender only.
Yeah, absolutely right. Thank you, Jagriti.
Thank you,
Dagurji.
sir.
Jagruti,
Sir.
uh, let me just see. Yeah, you are asked about the public speaking. Now, speeches are very, very important for a public speaker. Can you tell me about one or two speeches which were very famous, or which are very famous even as on today, and which changed the course of history in the world? The most famous speeches. Tell me few of them. One, two, three.
Sir, one would be Martin Luther's speech, which had that I have a dream regarding black rights and egalitarian US society, which heralded a whole movement for black rights across the world.
Which which
So,
which Martin Luther King he was?
yes, Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah. And what was the occasion when he delivered his speech?
Um, I'm not sure if it was Juneteenth or something. I'm not aware of that.
Pardon?
I'm guessing it might be Juneteenth regarding black slavery or something, but I'm not aware of that, sir.
Any other speech you remember? Famous
Sir.
speech? Fight on beaches.
Pardon, sir?
Fight on beaches. Churchill's speech.
Sir, I haven't heard of that. So then, Jawaharlal Nehru's speech on the eve of independence.
Yeah. What was the title of that speech? It is known by which name?
Tryst with Destiny, is it?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, good. Tell me, you are discussing the gender issues. Now, a lot has been done in India for the, to remove the inequalities and to correct the, gender inequality. Can you tell me few legislation in the field of, like, women empowerment and protection of the women?
So first would be a prenatal sex determination law, which banned the prenatal determination of the sex of fetus. It helped in controlling the abortion, sex selective abortions. Then dowry prohibition legislation, Domestic Violence Act, uh, then POSH Act regarding sexual harassment at workplace,
What is that act?
uh,
Oh,
POSH, protection of women against sexual harassment at workplace.
yeah.
So POSH Act, and so these are the major legislations that come to my mind.
What are the provisions in the act you mentioned to
Uh,
take care of women when they work in the office? What is the scope of that act? It covers which segments of the working population, working
uh,
women?
Sir, it covers all the working women within its ambit, be it in organized, unorganized, even the clients. If women are engaging with a firm as a client, it covers them as well, including the
Okay, I give
domestic.
you I give you one example. There is
Yes,
a
sir.
small office of a
Yes, sir.
software engineer where 5 persons are working. It is in like you see unorganized sector. Will it be covered by the act or not?
Sir, as far as I can remember, the act covers the unorganized sector women as well.
Number is important or not? The size of the office, the number of people working in the office.
So I think it is not based on
So
the.
tell me, what are the institutional mechanism to protect women under that law?
There is an internal complaints committee which has to be constituted at the level of the workplace itself, having the representatives of
Okay,
the.
then above that, okay,
Then
good.
at district level also there is a similar committee whereby the
What is the name of that committee?
uh, district is it district's complaint committee or something like that. So,
Above that,
then at the level of Ministry of Women and Child, there is a complaint box also with by the name of She
there is a
Complaint
committee.
Box.
There is a final appellate committee. Who heads that committee at state level?
At the state level, I'm not aware of that, sir.
Okay. My last question. When you conduct a election, who is the most important functionary in actually conducting the election?
The presiding officers at the booth, because they are
Yeah.
directly in touch with.
And at constituency level?
At the constituency level, the DM, who acts as the returning officer.
No, not the.
Oh.
But under which law actually all these powers have been mentioned? The functionaries, what will be there? You see, the who will appoint them?
Representation of People's Act.
Yeah. So who nominates this officer, this functionary, who actually who is in charge of the entire actually process of election, right from receiving the nomination to final handing over the certificates to the candidates?
At the state level, sir?
Yeah, constituency level.
Uh, Chief Electoral Officer.
No.
I'm not aware
Electoral
of that.
officer
So.
is at state level. His functions are
State
different.
level, yes.
Have you heard about returning officer?
Yes, sir, returning officer.
Okay, thank you, Jagriti.
Thank you, sir.
Gauri Shankar ji.
Jagriti, we have
Yes,
become
sir.
Jagrat after you came. So tell us what is, there was a revolt of 1857 in India. What is the role of Madhya Pradesh in that revolt?
Sir, at that time, this region, particularly from Madhya Pradesh, included areas of Bundelkhand, and Jhansi used to be a part of that area. Now it is in Uttar Pradesh, but in 1857, so Jhansi ki Rani Lakshmi Bai belonged to this region, and there is one Kumar Jagdish Singh. He also belonged to Madhya Pradesh, and he led a regional battalion of revolutionaries, and these two people come to the top of my mind presently.
Okay. So the revolt started from there.
The revolt started from, I think, from Meerut, where the people started moving towards, marching
Okay.
towards Delhi.
Now, how do you look at Rani Lakshmibai as an ideal for the women of today?
So she is a pioneering of feminist icons of India. She took over the throne after the death of her husband by adopting a heir apparent, and she was vocal against the ideas of Britishers regarding the doctrine of lapse. She herself led her army into the battle. So she stands as a figure of independence and courage, and which is required for even today's women.
So how do you look at as a woman?
As a powerful, empowered woman, I would say, who can take her own decisions and can make her voice heard.
Okay. Now tell me, what are different forms of corruption which are existing in our society?
At societal level,
Yes.
so the first form is the most common bribery, be it in the form of cash or kind, and then nepotism. Nepotism is a form of corruption whereby we prioritize our own welfare over that of society. Then inefficient working at workplace, when we are charged or we are paid for a particular work, but we choose to remain ineffective or idle. So ineffective working is a form of corruption. And even at household level, when we choose to discriminate between the members based on their gender particularly, it is a form of corruption whereby a particular section of the household is deprived of the advantages which they must get.
Okay. Now in our society, for example, there's a thief, a petty thief, who picks up, he's doing pickpocketing, taking the purses and jewelry and things like that away. He's caught, he is a criminal offender. On the other hand, we have bureaucrats and politicians who make huge cuts in contracts and they are never caught. So how do you look at that?
I think it is unfortunate that we are able to tolerate or look over the corruption at a higher level, and we are able to run behind it effectively at the lower scale. Be it the thief or the corrupt politicians or bureaucrats, they are all the offenders and all must be caught. At the higher levels, we have lack of accountability. The political nexus, which is the thief does not have any significant nexus, so he's alone in his work. But when it is at the politician or bureaucratic level, it is a nexus which is working. So to permeate that system is a challenge, whereby the authorities are themselves involved.
So as a bureaucrat, if you are selected into, say, IAS and you become a district collector or you become a secretary to a particular department, how will you fight this menace?
Sir, the cases of bribery which can be easily caught, they can be remedied by using digital spaces. The files can have digital movement, digital tracking, so that nobody deliberately sits upon a file in the want of a bribery or a fee, something like that. Then the citizen should be made more vigilant. It is the citizen who is ultimately paying the officers or the people who are engaged there. So the citizen should be made more vigilant. They should be able to complain. Whenever a complaint is made, the decisions should be very swift. The inquiry should be swiftly established and quick decisions. And if it is found that a person is uh, involved, stringent action should also be taken so that they act as a precedent for others. And
See, it is often said that you can clean the stairs from up to down. You can't clean the stairs from down to up.
yes, sir, it has to
So
start at the top.
what would you suggest for tackling this problem of corruption in the Indian systems?
Yes, sir, we have to start from the top, because then they act as a role model for the people who are at the lower echelons of the hierarchy. The people sitting at the top, they can be more transparent about their work. Discretionary powers should be made, should be exercised in a more objective manner, and better recording of such decisions can be made. Further, any kind of movement of file should look as a transparent function, because mostly files are stuck at the higher echelons and not at the lower ones. So these kind of steps will bring in transparency, and even the people who are below those officers, they will also get certain kind of vigilance in them that we should be working in an efficient manner.
Okay, now when you are working in the office, you are working, for example, as a SP or district collector. Now, most of the time you are not in a position to, affect the promotion or to punish any of the workers working under you, because the government system is highly complicated. It's not easy to punish anybody. So how will you motivate a worker to work with his full enthusiasm? What kind of motivation you will use?
Sir, I'll start with myself. Be it regarding the timings of the office or my presence in the presence in my workplace, I will first correct my own performance in that regard, and then I can promote others. For example, when people are coming into the office, so regarding the time, such kind of acts on the part of officers, they can act as an example for others. Biometric systems are already in place, so they can be an added verification regime. Regarding the honesty, I can start with not accepting any gifts, sweets, or any kind of allurement that comes from outside in any form, be it
As a
small or
public
big.
speaker, will you use some of your motivational talks?
Yes, sir, I would use motivational talks along with the setting an example for them. So, and we can also make the people who are working honestly based on the feedback of the every government department is dealing with some kind of customers, be it the government or the public customers. So, based on customers' feedback, we can have most honest employee or the best honest employee of the month or something like that. Those can also act as a role model for others. So, we can create
Now,
an ecosystem.
my last question is that now there are a lot of convincing evidence that the current coronavirus originated from the lab in Wuhan. A lot of articles and scientific studies have also come out recently. The China is not allowing anybody to go anywhere near that laboratory and do the, on the spot inspection. Now, what would you do at the international level to make it happen that scientists are able to reach that lab and examine whether it originated there or not?
A multilateral effort would be needed from both the friends of China, like Russia, Pakistan, etc. They also have to be brought on that side of the table, and the international players along with WHO. Sufficient pressure has to be put up on China that since the pandemic is ravaging all the economies and health system across the world, a test is necessary not only to hold it accountable or responsible, but also to study the future incidences of such pandemics. Even if the leak has happened, maybe it was not intentional or it was an accident, but it needs to be verified so that in future we can have better checks in place. So international multilateral pressure technique has to be used because China has been upfront in avoiding any kind of interference. So WHO, United Nations, all the major countries, everyone has to be brought on place.
Okay, so shouldn't you tell China that your intransparency is actually the breeding ground of suspicion all around the world?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Jagrati.
Thank you, sir.
Harish ji.
Yes, Jagrati.
Yes, sir.
You tell me, what does your father teach as a professor?
Sir, he is a professor of organon of medicine in Homeopathic Medical College.
Homeopathic Medical College, very good. And what did you do at BHEL? What was your role?
I was in the supply management, sir. So I was a purchase executive. floating tenders for various components of transformer.
Okay. And that was a permanent job. Why did you leave?
Sir, I wanted to be a part of a more diversified service where I have more opportunity and scope for being a participant in the process of inclusive development of the country. And I think civil services would give me that opportunity.
Okay, good. Now you said you like to be an event manager.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me, what is the event manager's role during the event?
To from start to the end, first is will be the timely start of the event to avoid any chaos while the people are coming in. Proper seating arrangements are followed, and those at the presentation end of the event, they should be provided all the logistical supports and the equipments that they need. When the event is going on, they have to be in touch with various teams that are working, technical team or the refreshment team or the disciplinary team, so that everything is well coordinated. Coordination is their main function during the event.
What do you mean by firefighting in that context?
In case any kind of unprecedented exigencies take place during the event, then they should be upfront in dealing with it.
Okay, very good. Now, suppose you are DM in a district. What kind of firefighting event that you might expect?
Sir, in context of which activity, like?
No, you are a DM, you are a district magistrate. And what are the possibilities where you might have to do firefighting?
There can be, taking from recent examples, there can be certain protests or agitations which may cause discomfort to the common public and sudden inconvenience in the administration of the city itself. They may block important roads or important infrastructure. So that can be a firefighting situation to ensure smooth administration. Then any kind of accident or disaster is a firefighting situation.
Okay. Now, can you tell me which are the sunrise industry in India?
Sir, food processing industries, renewable energy industry, textile, electronics.
Textile?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I thought that's very old.
Sir, I think it is in the sunrise sector. Is after that, technical textiles and those kind of things.
Oh, okay. And what else?
And so electronics. Electronics.
Now, for Madhya Pradesh, which of this sunrise industry is more feasible and applicable?
So renewable energy and food processing and enterprises can be important in the context of Madhya Pradesh.
And why?
Sir, for renewable energy, there are some important dams here, and so hydro and small hydro, because many river and riverlets are here and they have this rocky terrain, so they have energy. So those small hydro can be harnessed, and solar, it has immense potential for solar as well, because a lot of land is barren here, or it is not very fertile in the drier and arid regions like Bundelkhand. So there we can have solar. And for food processing, sir, it has many cereals. It is a good producer of cereals in the country. And recently, experiments have been done for growing berries. The Sagar district, it grew strawberries. So those jams, pickles, those kind of industries can be harnessed.
Okay. And Jagruti, do you think you are entrepreneurial in your spirit?
Yes, sir, I am.
You are?
Yes.
Then don't you think you are coming in a wrong line?
No, sir, I think civil services in itself is very entrepreneurial in nature. And where it's not only me, I'll help other entrepreneurs to grow themselves as well.
And if you have a chance, would you like to work for a startup or for a established company, MNCs?
So choice between startup and a multinational company.
Yes.
I would choose a startup.
And why?
It has a lot of scope for creativity and to use my own intellect to create a new product. So I think there will be more scope for my own contribution into the company.
But the security is compromised in startup.
Yes, sir.
Your benefits salary is also much lower than MNCs.
Yes, sir. Startups, when they begin their journey, they are quite susceptible to the ebbs and flows. But if the startup succeed, then certainly at the later end, the benefits are commensurately huge as well, and it would be mine. So if the company grows, it would be mine. So that kind of ownership will also be there on the company.
Okay, Jagrati, some people think that girls and boys are inherently gifted in different ways. And what do you think?
So
for
I
example,
think,
yeah,
I
go.
think inherently they are, I think, exactly same apart from their biological makeup. And it is the slow social conditioning that makes them different when they grow up, even to the age of say 3 or 4 years. Their social conditioning has already begun, so they start showing different interests and abilities. But I think inherently they are the same.
No, but how do you say inherently they are same? Haven't you heard of left brain, right brain functions?
Yes, there have been certain studies which say that girls are more creative and boys tend to be more technical in their approach. Uh, but if we see the contribution of women, especially at a global level, women are actively participating as construction workers or mining workers. Men are now moving into the creative sector, into fashion industries, which were thought to be women centric. So I think it is more about social conditioning.
What do you think about mathematical abilities of girls? Is it compromised?
No, sir. In my opinion, it is not compromised.
No,
No,
because there's a perception.
that's a perception. Yes, sir. It is a perception that, and this perception is the result why women have lower participation in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So this perception is what grows.
Okay, so you think it's a changeable or trainable?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Okay. Final question. There is a symbol of Unacademy in front of you on screen. No?
Yes, sir. It isn't, but I know the symbol. So it is a cup, I guess.
So what does it
Cup shape.
signify? What does it signify?
To me, the symbol of that cup signifies achievement.
Achievement? Okay.
Yes,
It
sir.
looks like a drink pack to me.
It looks like a cup, sir. I see it as an achievement of victory cup.
No, but why? I mean, what does it mean to Unacademy? Why they have chosen this? Does it have a meaning?
Sir, Unacademy is about unconventional ways of teaching and learning. So I think this signifies how a person can come and be a part of this journey and achieve this exam, because they are mostly focused on competitive exams. So I think.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Satish ji.
Thank you, sir. Hello, Jagriti. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you.
What is an epidemic?
An epidemic is a sudden incidence of a disease, and to which people do not have any prior immunity in large numbers.
How is it different from a pandemic?
The coverage of a pandemic is much larger. So a pandemic is a global epidemic.
An epidemic is national.
No, it isn't national. It can be regional or in a restricted area. So
Who declares the disease an epidemic in India?
I think it is under the Epidemics Disease Act, even the states can also notify the diseases as epidemics, and the center as well.
Both can.
Yes, sir.
And what happens if you declare a disease as an epidemic? What different do you do?
There can be certain guidelines and uh, steps that the state and the center can take, and penal provisions can be imposed on people if they break such kind of guidelines, especially regarding restriction of travel and movement.
So, only if a disease is an epidemic can a lockdown be imposed.
Uh, I think no, sir, it doesn't.
Is there a law that allows you to declare a disease an epidemic or not?
Epidemic Diseases Act of 1897.
Is the coronavirus an epidemic officially declared in India?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure, but I think it is notified
Or
because
not?
the act was operationalized for coronavirus.
At this moment, there is also a plea which is being made to declare another disease as an epidemic. What is the name of that disease?
Black fungus, mucormycosis.
Correct. So, why is the center asking the states to declare black fungus as an epidemic if the center can also declare it on their own?
The incidence of this black fungus is not uniform across India. Certain states are reporting higher numbers. So it would be better if localized actions are taken instead of a national action.
Okay. An interesting study in sociology is the nature of nuclear families. Do you think nuclear families are fulfilling the same kind of behavioral, community driven upbringing that joint families did back in the day?
In context of India, sir,
Yes.
nuclear families in India are certainly becoming more individualized, and the behavioral aspects like sharing and tolerance to other opinions, they are affecting the people in general. But at the same time, in India, we do not have a strictly nuclear family. There are extended nuclear families, whereby the people remain in touch with their joint families as well, and with the culture of both spouse working, there is a return of joint families. So the grandparents shifting in with their children. So those things are happening. And yes, the individual aspect of nuclear families on children's behavior is a little, it is promoting a kind of individualism. Yes, sir.
If you had to compare the institution of nuclear families in India versus the West, what are the primary differences?
So the first one would be that in India, nuclear families are still based on uh, a single marriage. They are not mixed. While if you go to the West, there are a series of divorces and marriages. So the families become mixed up. Even in the nuclear family, there is a mixing of parents and siblings. So there is a difference. There, the nuclear families are actually cut off from their larger joint family. But in India, that the orientation of families is still towards their joint group regarding ceremonies or important functions
So are
or
you
even
saying
holding
in
of
the West?
property.
So are you saying in the West, nuclear families don't go meet their parents or attend their functions or large family gatherings in the event of a marriage or anything else?
They do, but the significance is not as much as it is in India. Uh,
How do you quantify significance?
Sir, anecdotal evidences can be taken up. For example, in the West, people inviting their own parents to marriage, while in India, it's the parents who will be arranging it for them, or the entire family would be involved in the arrangement functions itself.
Isn't that stereotypical? You were talking about stereotypes a while ago. Is this the norm? Is this how generally society is structured?
So it is not stereotypical, but in India, if we still see most of the social rituals and functions are based on such norms. If we exclude certain urban spaces, then most of the nuclear families are still much oriented towards their larger kin group.
All right. What do you understand by the two-state solution in the context of the Israel-Palestine conflict?
Two-state solution was proposed by United Nations, and it aims to create two independent sovereign nations there for Israel and Palestine, uh, s- so that both of them can peacefully share the land. And
Do you
it was
think do you think in the context of the 2021 violence, the violence which is currently going on, there is any possibility of the two-state solution to be even back on the table for discussion?
at present scale of violence, it cannot be tried in the immediate context. First, the truce has to be stabilized, and the various negotiations have to be brought back. But two-state solution seems to be the most apt solution for these two countries. So, with multilateral organizations or with various countries coming together, two-state solution can be established for them.
What is India's official position on the Israel-Palestine issue? And do you agree with the official position that India has taken?
India has said that it does not support any kind of violence, and it has asked them to escalate down the conflict. And it has also supported the just Palestinian cause.
So that is from the Hindu editorial this morning, Jagriti. I
Uh,
understand that you've read it. But my question to you is not that. My question is, does India support the two-state solution of Israel and Palestine?
yes, sir. India has been supporting the two-state solution of Israel and Palestine.
Then why did it not refer to the two-state solution in the recent UN meet?
Uh, I'll have to read on that, sir.
Okay. My final question. Do you think Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited should be privatized?
Yes, sir. I see. Since in the last quarter it has been in loss, and even after 2015, its balance sheets have weakened. So privatization can be an option. But along with that, we can also have a multi-pronged strategy for the same regarding the asset monetization, as the budget 2021-22 said. Asset monetization can be said. They are now themselves reforming that they are inviting
So
the
you
private
leaving,
enterprises.
so you leaving an organization which is financially in the waters or through troubled times isn't it a sign of you sinking ship, you leaving a sinking ship, that
Uh,
BHEL is not doing well? Instead of supporting the organization, giving everything you can, you are moving to greener pastures such as the civil services. How do you justify that?
I'm not leaving a shrinking ship, sir. It's a business whereby the rate of returns have fluctuated over time. My issue was with the style of working. It is a technical enterprise, and now my interest is more towards the social side of it. And even BHL itself is now reforming. They have entered into various private partnerships with the Indian and global companies. So they are inviting them to use BHL facilities to manufacture here, so that BHL can just lease out its facilities for a certain term. So they are also entering into various kind of private partnerships. So they are also reforming.
My final question to you, Jagriti. Have you heard of Toastmasters?
Yes, sir.
Have you participated in it?
No, sir.
Okay. What have you heard of it as?
It is a public speaking forum, and uh, they have their branches all over the country, and they hold regular events. So
All right. Why didn't you participate in Toastmaster events?
my college itself had many committees and clubs for public speaking, so I did not join any other.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, Jagriti,
Yes, sir.
first of all, let me put this question to you. How do you think you performed at this mock interview?
Oh, I did not
How would you
perform very.
assess?
I did not perform very well.
Which are the
First-
areas where you think you need to, have a greater knowledge base, or you think you need slightly improvement? First of all.
Regarding the institutional legal provisions which are in place regarding this election machinery, and then this epidemic management,
Yeah.
and so regarding that, and sir, this Israel-Palestine issue also, a better reading is needed. Further, I should be more fluent. I was very stuttering with my words, so I should have been more fluent with it. And even for corruption-related questions, more institutional measures should have been told rather than just
Yeah.
anecdotal.
Okay. All right. So, first of all, let me say that talk about your strengths. First of all, Jagriti, kindly come to the center of the screen. You are on one side. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's better. So let me add a few things from my side, from the
Yes,
side
sir.
of the panel. They are by way of suggestions, and they are only aimed at further improving your performance, which already is very good. So first of all, let me tell you the strengths of your performance, which in this last 30 minutes. You were mentally alert, number one. We could see that. You were able to assimilate the question well and analyze them and come out with analytical answers, because that is, it's, you see, the interview is not so much based on the knowledge. It is more based on how you analyze situations and so on. So you were able to have an analytical ability, which I think was very good. Your answers were clear and logical, and one could also see that you had a good power of thinking. So you were able to think and then come out with answers. There are exceptions, of course, which I'm going to tell you, but first of all, the good things. Regarding social issues, you were able to come out well. The women's issues also, you were able to fare admirably well. You were able to meet the questions. And the current affairs also knowledge was more or less good. There were issues like, for example, elections. Now, election is a very important, part of your going to be your personality test. So you must understand the institutional mechanism very clearly, how things operate at the ground root level, and how the returning officer operates, what is the duty of district election officer, what is the duty of chief electoral officer, the presiding officer, and so on. Then different provisions under the RP Act. So that is one area where you need to work on. Now, regarding your ability to answer questions connected with leadership also, you were able to come out well. I did not see anywhere that you were trying to bluff. And I thought that your answers were quite honest and to the point. And your communication skills are very good. There were no interruptions or disruptions in what you were saying. And I could see that you were able to even face some of the provocative questions also fairly well. Now, this is the good thing. Now, let me talk about some of the things where probably it would do you a lot of good. And first of all is when you talked about corruption, you yourself
Yes,
said.
sir.
Now, corruption, removing corruption, was an opportunity you could have utilized to your advantage in coming out with bright answers to that. So for example, removal of corruption, you could have touched upon good governance immediately. Now,
Yes.
good governance, the 3 essential ingredients out of 8 ingredients is: one is transparency, the second is responsiveness, third is accountability. So you did not mention any of these 3. You did not mention out in that responsiveness, grievance redressal.
Yes, sir.
Very important thing. You have to keep your doors open and listen to the public grievances. That will put a fear in the minds of those people down below who are trying to indulge in corruption. So that was one. Second is fixing responsibility, that is accountability. And third is transparency. Whatever you do, it should be fairly transparent. And then, of course, there were other measures. Why I'm telling you is because this answer could have been given in such a beautiful manner. For example, inspections, regular inspections to be carried out, down below. Then simplification of forms, simplification of procedures, simplification of processes, use of technology, and then of course ensuring that regular intervals you meet the people. You see, it can be visit to the villages, it can be, so many things can be done to have a first hand interaction with the people. So this was one area where you could have used it to your it could
Yes,
come,
sir.
and it was a great opportunity. Secondly,
Yes, sir.
about the speech thing, a good speaker. So probably sometimes they may even ask you, supposing you go to a school and you have to address small children, what are the things you would like to speak? Or when you go to a village, Gram Sabha, so the villagers, what would you like to speak? Now, coming to the ingredients of speech, you mentioned some of the ingredients which are required. But for example, the first thing, whenever you begin a speech, you have to ensure that you have to grab the attention of the people by making a very powerful introduction. And generally what we do is we mention some interesting fact and then
Yes.
start with the speech so that people become attentive. So this was one. And then of course the second thing, as I said, was storytelling. It has to be interesting. The storytelling. Rest of the things which you mentioned were very good. That you said that you were organize your thoughts. There should be evidence in what you are saying. You have to prepare in advance. What are the relevant things which will be relevant, things which will relevant to the audience, and what do you want to sell? And then rehearsing also, you said very clearly. And lastly, before you end the speech, normally it's a good idea to recapitulate the thing so that they know that before you leave. So introduction and the summarizing, they are the most powerful thing. And then of course the humor was also something.
Yes,
So
sir.
questions I thought were questions which were great opportunities to jump at such opportunities. Now some of the questions, for example, one thing which I have already mentioned, election process, but the other thing also, for example, coronavirus. So pandemic, that I think very obvious thing, but you were not able to, somehow you slightly faltered on that. But you can prepare more because it is something which we are going to talk about. And then we will talk about the Kumbh Mela, and they'll talk about the
Yes, sir.
commission and the West Bengal elections, High Court orders regarding criticizing the election commission. All these things will come automatically. Then about the Palestinian and Israel issue, probably it could be handled slightly better. And you mentioned at one place Jhansi Ki Rani. Now, mix Hindi words. Since you
Yes,
have
sir.
Jhansi Ki Rani, you could have said
Queen of Jhansi or Rani Lakshmibai.
Rani Lakshmibai.
Yes.
Similarly, entrepreneur also, the answer which you gave was fine, but you could have further, gone ahead with that by giving examples of in what way you will prove to be an entrepreneur as a civil servant. What are the entrepreneurial challenges and qualities that you will face while being a civil servant? It can be in terms of agriculture production, it can be in terms of so many things. So these are challenges. And I think one question was regarding what are the things which you are going to have meet in the district level. So you had mentioned that there may be floods. I think there was one question you mentioned about
Firefighting. Yes, sir.
firefighting. Yeah. So firefighting, that question also, I think you could have answered in, though there were so many, opportunities of challenges which come. So definitely pandemic is one of them. Then, floods would be there. There will be accidents, which you mentioned. There can be many such similar things which can come. And even elections, conducting election itself is a challenging task. So you will need to understand what are the different situations which you are going to meet. Why civil service will be far more challenging than the organization where you are working. And then I think it will be a good idea if you study slightly more about privatization, why government is in going ahead with privatization, because the latest policy of the government is to open up the private sector to many sectors which hitherto they were regarded as a closely guarded secret. For example, atomic energy and defense, and even things like Coal India and so on. So all these things, minerals, coals, they will be opened up. So you must understand the psyche of the government why they want to privatize. It is not regarding loss-making units. Please understand that.
Yes, sir.
The idea behind is that the government wants to have surplus funds to inject into certain areas like the disadvantaged sectors of the society, or education, or health, so that they can find sufficient quantity of funds for that. So it is basically meeting those funds. And even some of the profit making will also go. And the second principle which the government is saying is that the government has no business
No
to
business
make.
to do this.
So that sums up everything. If you have any questions, you can ask us.
Sir, regarding that corruption, and so how can I make my lower subordinates to be more effective and more honest?
Yeah.
So, sir, in that grievance redressal and the citizen charter, these things can be mentioned. Anything like personal that can be added at my personal level?
One thing which I used to do was that I never allowed my peon to sit outside my room, and my doors were always open. So anyone could walk into my room, and my subordinates knew that the collector, he is open to everyone. So they were quite afraid that anyone can walk into that, it will not be stopped, and he can air his grievances. So that is how I used to do that. That may be one of the ways, but there are umpteen number of ways which I said that in order to fight the corruption. And then the pep talk also sometimes with your officials. And then of course the last but not the least, walk the talk. So you have to show the way to them. Only then they will see, because you are the role model for them. Okay.
I'll work on these things, sir.
Yeah, I'm sure you will come out exceedingly well, and we are very confident that you are going to make it to the civil services this time. But don't feel complacent. Go back and study even more to even better your position in respect of various topics. There should not be any glitches whatsoever, and we would like to see it that way. So you will be successful.
Thank you, sir. I'll work on these, sir. Thank you.
Wish you good luck, Jagrati.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sure you will do
Yes,
very well.
Jagrati.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.